All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's an interesting story going around, and this one comes to us from an anonymous post. Now, obviously, whenever it's an anonymous post, you guys got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to be a little careful. But this one in particular, the person who wrote this, whatever post, is honestly either a very good troll or someone who is knee deep in the sauce and is basically frustrated that people are not eating what they're giving them. Now, we have an article here from That Park Place with a headline that reads, "Anonymous game developer admits that I kinda hate gamers and calls Asmongold's viewers bigots."
Shut up! Oh my God, I don't care!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he decided or she decided to want to go after Asmongold's viewers for whatever reason. We're going to find out in the article. But I got to tell you, it's really not that shocking to see a supposed game developer anonymously posting online and complaining about their overall disdain of the customer that gives them a job in the first place. So let's get into this article, guys, from the That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says an alleged game developer posted anonymously to the game dev subreddit admitting that he hates gamers and that members of the Asmongold subreddit are bigots. Reddit user Likely Sprite, who claims he works on a racing game, titled his post in the subreddit, "Am I allowed to say this? I kinda hate gamers." He went on to explain, "I'm a professional game designer and I'm worried that I'm starting to hate gamers. Watching the gaming events on YouTube last month with the chat on was extremely disheartening experience. Every time a character that wasn't a cis hetero white male appeared on screen, the chats would fill with messages calling the game woke or complaining about DEI. Every game that wasn't a shooter or hyper-casual competitive online game garnered Z's and boring comments." Well, all right, first off, you cannot complain people for calling things woke or whatever the case may be because you just literally referred to people as cis hetero white men, okay? So that shows your particular ideology. You don't understand, or perhaps you do understand and you're trying to disingenuously represent it, but you are coming off as if you don't understand that you are 100% ideologically driven. It is very clear. Nobody uses a term such as cis hetero and suddenly is not an ideological psychopath. That's just not a thing. If you use cis hetero, you are 100% drinking the sauce. And since you drink the sauce, you want other people to drink the sauce. And if they don't drink it in front of you when you force it to them every single game, then you're like, well, you guys are just bigots. I don't understand why you're like this, right? Because you want to give in. You want to be the one that wants to be driven by ideology. You want to be the one that is completely given in to this whole nonsense, and you expect everybody else to do it. Well, guess what? The entire world doesn't have to think like you or act like you, and you are just realizing now that that is a thing because the internet is not as policed as it was due to the freedom of Twitter now compared to in the past. It says, and then I checked Twitter, and it's just people complaining that Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is not yellow enough. People telling me there are right ways and wrong ways to beat Elden Ring. And people hating on the new Dragon Age because the trailer doesn't match the tone that they had imagined for it. He continued. So you're upset that people have opinions? Like, I don't understand. People having opinions over a remake, this is something that's been around for ages, right? This is nothing new. People are absolutely having the same opinions that they had prior, but now. The only difference is that now it's not censored. Now you can see it, and because you can see it, now you're feeling overwhelmed. You're thinking, oh my God, where did all these bigots come from? That's the problem with safe spaces, right? Safe spaces don't allow you to see the real world. So you end up growing up with this idea that the world is one way, or you end up living your life, if you're already an adult, with the idea that the world is one way. And then when you realize when that safe space goes away, which in this case, that safe space was Twitter, when that goes away, you realize, oh shit, the world isn't like this, right? The world is not how I've been thinking. The world is not following the same ideology that I was told was the common one, that I was told was the one to follow. I've been following this for ages, and yet there's millions of people who disagree with me. I can't handle that. I need to go back to my safe space where everything is banned and regulated for me so I can just see people that think and act like me. I need to go back to my echo chamber. That's what these people are experiencing right now. That's why it's so devastating to them, because they have lived their entire life in this echo chamber, or they have worked their entire professional life in this echo chamber, only to realize after the removal of said echo chamber that this is not how the world works. We already knew that's not how the world works. They just didn't know it yet. He then added, I've seen some people implying that the main character in Fable trailers is ugly because it's a self-insert of some random level designer working at Playground whom they have deemed as not fuckable enough. No. The main character is absolutely ugly by every definition of the word. I don't know. It's just the internet magnifying negative voices, I guess, doing what it does best, but it's making me real tired of gamers, Likely Sprite concluded. Well, guess what, Likely Sprite? We're extremely tired of people who utilize terms like cis hetero, okay? We are extremely tired of people that are interjecting their identity politics into literally everything that they touch, okay? We are tired of it, and you're realizing that we're tired of it, and then you're tired of us being tired. So if you were to stop doing the nonsense and perhaps either leave the industry or go back to making video games that aren't ideologically driven, then maybe the nonsense and the noise will go away. This is the problem I have with people who call my content rage bait, right? The people who hate me, they want to classify it as rage bait because they don't actually want to sit down and hear the discussion that happens in every single video, or they don't want to sit down during a stream and hear the discussion that happens every single stream, the nuanced take on things and try to ask questions and understand certain things. They don't want that, right? They want the discussion to be completely stopped. They want every single bit of information to flow through them so they can then give it to you in their own version, right? They don't want information to flow freely. Flowing free information is the most detrimental thing to the argument of a hardcore ideologically driven psychopath. It is the worst thing for them. So they are trying to filter it. They want to censor it any way they possibly can because that's the best thing for them and their arguments. But I will say this, we're tired. We are tired of your nonsense, just like you are tired of the nonsense. And for the people who call me rage bait, I will constantly remind you that if you think my content is rage bait and you think that I am a reactionary, then as a reactionary, I cannot thus create anything to garner rage. I must only react to it and then go from there. So that means that there is rage to react to begin with. So then ask the question and sit down with yourselves and perhaps figure out, why is there rage to react to in the first place? Nobody wants to cover that conversation. When one user pushed back on Likely Sprite and informed him that anyone who unironically uses cis hetero to complain about customers is not developing a game that will be commercially successful, the alleged developer responded by doubling down, "Thanks for proving my point, cis hetero gamer." So again, this is exactly my point. Look at you. Look at you and how you are acting and responding to this particular person who is calling out your ideology and how you are just unironically proving why gamers are mad in the first place. And you're sitting here and doubling down on exactly what is pissing people off. So for you, this is a battle of ideology. For us, this is a battle of gaming. Like, we want to save gaming, and it's not just gaming. It's more so just entertainment as a whole. We cover all kinds of things, movies, TVs, games, everything. We cover it all because they have their hands ingrained in all of it. Likely Sprite would also reveal the entire purpose of the post. I made this post to vent. People are free to comment whatever they want. That's not true. My work is to tweak numbers on an Excel sheet and then implement and fine-tune the changes in the game's engine. I have zero use for gamers' thoughts on race and gender. Well, see, you say you have zero use for our thoughts on race and gender, and yet you and your fellow co-workers are thinking that you guys are the arbiters of this exact information and that we need to hear your thoughts on race and gender all the time. This is why you make changes in the game, like changing male and female to body type A and B, right? You want us to hear your thoughts on race and gender 24/7. You want us to hear about how representation is so important to you. Inclusion and equity is so important, blah, 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 whatever, right? You want us to hear about it all the time. And yet now you're on a forum where nobody asked you to post this. You posted this and someone comments on it and you say, well, I have zero use for hearing about gamers' thoughts on race and gender. Gee, I wonder how you might feel to find out that we have the exact same feeling towards you and your thoughts on race and gender. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.